Elias Ward had always imagined that his life would be long. He thought he would travel the world, take photographs of places no one had seen before, and grow old with stories in his heart. But life does not always move the way someone plans, and Elias learned that the hard way. Only a few months earlier, he had been a healthy 32-year-old man who loved his job. He worked as an expedition photographer, a career that allowed him to visit deserts, mountains, and deep forests. He had been on countless trips and had never once slowed down. But then the strange illness came. It started quietly, like a whisper. First he felt tired more often. Then he began to lose weight even though he ate well. Soon, he started having sharp pains in his chest and moments when the world felt blurry. At first, he ignored it. He told himself it was stress from work or maybe lack of rest. But when he collapsed during a photo assignment, he finally agreed to go to a hospital. Doctors ran test after test. They scanned his body, checked his blood, and made him stay for long hours under bright lights. After days of waiting, the doctors called him in for a final meeting. Elias remembered the room clearly. It smelled of disinfectant and cold air. The doctors tried to use gentle voices, but gentle voices cannot soften certain truths. They told him his illness was something extremely rare, something they had little knowledge about. It was slowly weakening his organs, and there was no known cure. They explained everything carefully, but all Elias could hear was the sentence that changed his world. "You may have only weeks left." The words sat inside him like heavy stones. He felt fear, but he also felt disbelief. How could a person who had climbed cliffs, crossed deserts, and survived storms suddenly be told that his body was giving up? He wanted to argue with them, to convince them they were wrong. But even as he tried to speak, his voice shook. The doctor saw the look in his eyes and tried to comfort him, promising they would do everything they could to keep him comfortable. But comfort was not what Elias wanted. He wanted answers. He wanted time. He wanted the life he had always imagined. That night, he packed his things quietly. Instead of staying in the city or with friends, he made a different choice. There was a small research station deep in the desert, a place he had used many times as a base for meteor photography. It was far away from noise, hospitals, and pitying faces. He decided that if he was nearing the end, he wanted to face it on his own terms. Surrounded by the quiet sky he loved so much, the station was little more than a shack made of metal and old glass panels. But it had everything he needed: a small bed, a radio that rarely worked, and a wide view of the night sky. For years, meteor showers had brought him there. He had spent countless nights taking long exposure shots of falling stars. The desert had always given him peace, and he hoped it would do so again. Days passed slowly at the station. His illness became worse. He found it harder to walk, and sometimes he lost his balance without warning. There were moments when his vision dimmed, and he had to sit down before he fainted. He tried to distract himself by working on his camera equipment, but even holding the tools became difficult. His hands were not as steady as they used to be. At night, he lay in his bed listening to the wind push sand against the metal walls. Sometimes he talked to himself just to hear a human voice. Other times he talked to the stars like they were old friends. He told them he was not ready to leave the world yet. He told them he still had places he wanted to see. The stars, of course, did not answer, but looking at them made him feel less alone. One evening, after a particularly hard day, Elias stepped outside to watch the sunset. The sky glowed in soft shades of orange and pink. He felt weak, but he forced himself to stay on his feet. The beauty of the sunset made him remember the first time he had ever taken a picture of the sky after a summer storm. That memory felt warm. He let himself smile for the first time in days. But soon after, a wave of dizziness hit him. His knees weakened, and he had to hold on to the doorframe. He tried to breathe slowly, but each breath felt heavy. He whispered to himself that it would pass, the way it usually did, but this time it did not. His legs gave out, and he sank to the ground. The sand felt cool against his hands, but his body felt distant, almost hollow. He tried to stand again, but he could not. He lay there, staring up at the sky as the first stars appeared. A part of him wondered if this was the moment the doctors had warned him about. If this was the end, coming quietly like a slow evening breeze. For a few minutes, he closed his eyes. His heartbeat felt strange to slow, too uneven. His breaths came in thin strands, as though his lungs were tired of trying. He felt small in that moment, lying in the wide desert with nothing but sand and sky around him. He felt the kind of fear that comes when a person realizes they are losing control of their own body. But as the darkness around him deepened, something unexpected happened. The sky above the research station suddenly brightened. It was not lightning, and it was not any meteor he had ever seen. The light was steady, soft yet powerful, like a glow from something enormous hidden behind the clouds. Elias forced his eyes open, confused. The light seemed too close to be coming from the sky. It painted the desert sand in pale silver. For a moment, he thought he was imagining it. His illness had caused strange moments before, flashes of color, ringing sounds, dreams that felt real. Maybe this was another one. But the light grew brighter, and the ground vibrated beneath him, gently at first, then stronger, as if something large was touching down on the desert surface. Elias blinked, trying to focus. Even through his hazy vision, he could see a shape forming in the air. It was smooth, dark, and silent, like a shadow taking solid form. He wondered if it was a helicopter or some experimental aircraft, but there was no sound, no rushing wind. It simply glided down like it belonged to the night itself. His heart struggled in his chest, not from fear but from the effort of staying conscious. A strange thought crossed his mind. Am I dreaming? Or is something actually here? He wanted to call out, but his voice did not come. He could only watch as the glowing shape touched the ground a short distance away. A soft hum filled the air, warm and gentle, almost soothing. The light wasn't harsh, it felt calming. Almost protective. Slow footsteps approached him. Very light, as if the person walking weighed almost nothing. Elias tried to raise his head, but he could not. All he could do was wait and listen. The air around him seemed to shift, almost like a warm breeze circling his body. A figure slowly came into view, a tall silhouette, outlined by the silver light behind it. Elias could not see the face clearly, but he could tell it was not an ordinary person. There was something graceful about the way the figure moved. Not rushed, not afraid, more like someone approaching a fragile object with care. He felt the presence kneel beside him, calm and steady. A soft voice, quiet but clear, echoed directly in his mind as though someone were speaking without sound. You are not alone, the voice said gently. I am here. That was the last thing Elias heard before his vision finally slipped away. Elias did not know how long he was unconscious. Time felt like a soft blur, a place without sound or shape. It was as if he was floating in warm darkness, disconnected from everything around him. Sometimes, he heard faint whispers, like echoes in a dream. Sometimes, he thought he felt someone touching his forehead, checking if he was still alive. But he could not open his eyes or move his body. Slowly, his awareness started to return, like morning light pushing away the night. The first thing he noticed was warmth, not desert warmth, but a gentle warmth that reminded him of a soft blanket or sunlight through a window. Then he heard something. A calm, rhythmic sound, almost musical. It wasn't from a machine, and it wasn't from the wind. His eyelids felt heavy, but he managed to open them slightly. At first, his vision was blurry, and everything looked like a watercolor painting. But then shapes began to form. He was lying inside a space that didn't look like anything he recognized. The walls were smooth and seemed to glow softly, almost like they were made of glass with light trapped inside them. There were no sharp corners, no metal panels, no wires. Everything looked seamless and clean. He blinked several times, trying to focus, and slowly the room became clearer. He wasn't on the desert sand anymore. He was lying on a surface that felt firm yet gentle, like foam that shaped itself around his body. He touched it weakly with his fingertips. It felt warm and slightly elastic. Elias tried to sit up, but a soft, cool wave passed over him, and his body relaxed back down. It was not forceful, it felt more like something was guiding him gently to stay still. You must not move too quickly, a voice said, not through the air but directly into his mind. Elias's breath caught. He remembered that voice. It was the same gentle tone he heard before losing consciousness. He slowly turned his head, and that was when he saw her clearly for the first time. She stood a few feet away, her form illuminated by the soft light of the room. She looked like a woman in shape, tall and elegant, but her presence felt different from anything human. Her skin had a pale, smooth glow, as if it reflected the light around her. Her eyes were the most striking, deep calm, and filled with tiny shimmering lights, like distant stars floating within them. Her hair was long and dark, flowing gently even though there was no wind. When she stepped closer, her movements were quiet and graceful, almost as if she were gliding rather than walking. There was something comforting about her, presence peaceful, steady, and strangely familiar. Elias swallowed, his throat dry. Who are you? He whispered, though his voice came out cracked and weak. The woman knelt beside him. Even though her face was not fully human, there was kindness in her expression, a kind of gentle curiosity mixed with concern. My name is Sireth, she replied, though her lips barely moved. He understood her not through sound but through clear thoughts that entered his mind naturally, as if she were sharing them without effort. Elias tried to push himself up again, but his body felt heavy, and his limbs trembled. Sireth lightly touched his shoulder, and he felt a soothing calm spread through him. Please rest, she said softly. Your body is still weak. He lay back slowly, breathing unevenly. His mind was full of questions, but his strength was too low to ask them all at once. Am I? He asked after a moment. You are inside my vessel, Sireth said. I brought you here to keep you safe. Your body was failing. You were close to losing consciousness permanently. Elias stared at her, confused. Why? Why would you help me? You don't know me. Sireth lowered her gaze, as if considering her words carefully. I could not ignore someone in need. Your life was fading, and I sensed your fear. You called out into the quiet without speaking. I came because I heard that call. Elias wasn't sure what she meant. How could she have heard something he didn't speak aloud? But he also felt grateful. Without her, he would probably still be lying in the desert, helpless and alone. He looked around the room again. The walls pulsed faintly with soft light, like a heartbeat. There were no tools or machines, yet the entire space felt alive, as if it responded to Sireth's presence. Are you human? He asked, even though he already knew the answer. Sireth's eyes softened. No, I come from a place far beyond this world. Elias let out a slow breath. He had spent years looking at the night sky through lenses and long exposures. The idea of life beyond Earth wasn't new to him. He had always believed it was possible. But believing something is possible is very different from seeing it with your own eyes. He stared at her again, trying to take in every detail: her calm gaze, the soft glow of her skin, the way her presence felt gentle and non-threatening. Sarith sat beside him, her movements careful. "I know you are frightened," she said, "but you do not need to fear me." "I'm not frightened," Elias whispered, though a little bit of fear still lingered in his chest. It wasn't the kind of fear that came from danger. It was the fear that comes from not understanding something enormous and unexpected. Sarith reached out and lightly touched his wrist. The moment her fingers brushed his skin, Elias felt a soft warmth spread through his arm. It wasn't painful or strange, discomforting, like a warm hand holding his during a cold night. "I am studying your condition," she explained gently. "Your body has been damaged by an illness. Many of your cells are weakening. Your energy is low. You have been struggling for a long time." Elias looked down. "My doctors said I only had weeks left." "Yes," Sarith replied. "I can see why they believed that." He felt a sting in his chest, not physical pain, but the emotional reminder of the truth he had been trying to accept. He was dying, his body was failing, and yet, here he was, lying inside something beyond human understanding, being spoken to by someone who did not belong to Earth. Elias took a slow breath. "Can you help me?" Sarith studied him quietly. For a long moment, she did not speak. Her eyes were full of thought, as if she were searching for the right way to explain something important. "I can help," she said at last. "But the help I offer is not simple. It is not a cure in the way your people understand cures. It is something much deeper, something that will change you in ways you cannot yet imagine." Elias felt a small, trembling hope. "Change me? How?" Sarith's expression became softer, almost regretful. She looked at him with a mixture of compassion and caution. "If I choose to help you fully, your life will not end, but you will not remain the same. You will become connected to my essence. It is a bond that cannot be undone." Elias blinked slowly. His heart beat faster, not from fear but from the weight of her words. "You're saying, you can save my life?" He whispered. "Yes," Sarith answered gently. "But you must understand that this path is not light. It is long, and it changes everything. You will not age the same way. You will not fall ill in the same way. You will become something between your world and mine." Elias stared at her, unable to speak for a moment. The idea sounded unreal, like something out of a dream or a story, but he could feel the truth in her voice. She had no reason to mislead him. She wasn't forcing him. She was simply offering a choice. Sarith reached out again, placing her hand lightly over his heart. "Your life is precious," she said softly, "but I cannot make this choice for you. If you wish to continue living, truly living, then you must accept what comes with my help." Elias felt tears prick the corners of his eyes. He didn't want to die. He had known that truth since the first day the doctors gave him the news. He had tried to accept it, but he never really did. He wanted more time to see the world again, time to take more photographs, time simply to breathe without fear. He looked at Sarith, his voice trembling. "I don't want to die," he whispered. "I want to live, even if it means changing." Sarith bowed her head gently, as if she had been waiting for those words. "Then I will do everything I can," she said. Elias felt a soft wave of warmth spread through the room, as if the vessel itself responded to his choice. Sarith looked into his eyes, her voice calm and steady. "Your path will be different from anything you have known, but I will guide you." Elias closed his eyes, breathing deeply. For the first time in many weeks, he felt something he had lost long ago: hope. Elias lay quietly on the warm, smooth surface inside Sarith's vessel. Even though his body was weak, his mind felt strangely awake. It was as if her presence filled the room with calm energy, allowing him to breathe easier than he had in weeks. Sarith stood nearby, watching him with gentle focus. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting the pulsing light around them. The air felt peaceful, almost like the inside of a dream. Elias had never experienced anything like it. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Elias was trying to understand the weight of his choice. Sarith seemed to be waiting patiently, giving him time to fully process what he had agreed to. Finally, Elias took a slow breath. What happens now?" he asked quietly. Sarith moved closer, her expression warm and reassuring. "Now," she said, "I will share my essence with you. It is the only way to restore your strength and keep your life from fading." Elias listened carefully. He wanted to understand everything he could, even if he knew he might not fully grasp it right away. "What do you mean by essence?" he asked softly. Sarith folded her hands gracefully in front of her. Her movements were calm, almost soothing. "My people do not heal the way yours do," she explained. "Our life force is carried through a special energy within our bodies. Some call it blood, but it is more than that. It carries memory. It carries strength. It carries the connection between our minds and our bodies." Elias nodded slowly, trying to keep up. "And sharing it with me will save me." "Yes," Sarith said. Her voice was gentle but certain. "But it will also connect you to my world. It will change the way your body works and the way you sense life around you. You will feel things differently. Time will move differently for you." Elias looked down at his hands. They looked thin, almost fragile. He remembered how strong they used to be, how easily they could carry heavy camera equipment or cling to rocks during climbs. Now, his fingers trembled even when resting. I don't want to lose who I am, he whispered. Sareth lowered herself so she could sit beside him, her legs folding gracefully beneath her. You won't lose yourself, she said softly. You will still be Elias. You will still have your memories, your thoughts, your heart. My essence does not erase. It only strengthens and expands what is already there. Her words eased some of the fear inside him. Elias looked into her shimmering eyes. Will it hurt? Sareth paused for a moment, thinking, it may feel strange, she admitted. Your body will change quickly. You may feel warmth, or pressure, or a sense of floating, but nothing harmful will happen to you. I will be with you the entire time. Elias nodded, trying to steady his breathing. He was nervous, but he trusted her. There was something in her eyes, something honest, caring, almost protective that made him believe she truly wanted to help him. Sareth held out her hand. Are you ready? Elias hesitated only for a second, then slowly placed his hand in hers. Her touch was warm, and the moment their skin met, he felt a soft wave of calm spread through him. The strange fear that had been sitting in his chest slowly dissolved. Sareth smiled gently. I will begin. Elias watched as she lifted her other hand. A faint glow appeared on her palm, soft silver light that moved like liquid starlight. He stared at it, amazed. The light shimmered and flowed in calm patterns, like a tiny galaxy spinning in her hand. Then, very carefully, Sareth touched her palm to her own wrist. A thin line of silver appeared, shining softly like a small stream of moonlight. Elias felt no fear. There was nothing alarming about it. The way she moved was gentle and respectful, as if she were performing a sacred ritual. She held her wrist above him. A single drop of silver light gathered at the edge, glowing like a tiny star. It fell slowly, landing on his lips with surprising warmth. The moment the drop touched his tongue, Elias felt something awaken inside him. It started as a soft warmth in his chest, like a slow sunrise. Then the warmth spread through his arms, his legs, and his fingertips. It felt as though every weak part of his body was being gently touched by light. His heart fluttered, then settled into a steady rhythm. His breathing became deeper. His mind became clearer, as if someone had opened a window and let in fresh air. Elias closed his eyes. He did not feel pain. Instead, he felt a sense of renewal, like a tired traveler finally finding water after a long journey. More silver light touched his tongue, and with each drop, he felt more aware, more connected, more alive. Then the visions began. At first, they were soft and distant, like memories that belonged to someone else. He saw a sky filled with shimmering colors, unlike anything on Earth. It looked like a sunrise made of crystal. Then he saw tall structures floating in the air, held up by energy instead of stone. They glowed in gentle harmony with the sky. He saw Sareth standing among others of her kind. They were gathered on a platform that looked like a giant petal made of light. They spoke without sound, sharing thoughts through gentle waves of emotion and color. Elias felt the kindness in them, their peaceful nature, their desire for knowledge and harmony. Another vision appeared, Sareth alone, traveling through dark space. She was searching for something, or perhaps someone. Elias felt her quiet loneliness, her longing to protect life wherever she found it. Then the visions faded as gently as they came. When Elias opened his eyes, Sareth was watching him closely, her expression soft but filled with concern. How do you feel? She asked. Elias took a deep breath. His chest did not feel tight anymore. The weakness that had weighed him down for months was fading like dust blown away by wind. Feel warm, he said, and light. Like I'm floating inside myself. Sareth nodded. That is natural. Your body is learning how to receive my essence. It is strengthening you from within. Elias looked at his hands again. They looked less fragile. His fingers no longer trembled. His skin looked healthier, almost glowing softly from the inside. He sat up slowly, and this time, his body did not fight him. For the first time in what felt like forever, he could sit without feeling dizzy. He felt solid, balanced, alive. But there was something else too. His senses felt sharper. He could hear a faint hum in the walls of the vessel, a sound so gentle that only his enhanced senses could detect it. He could feel the air around him more clearly, as though it carried layers of subtle energy. Even colors looked brighter, deeper. Sareth noticed the change in his eyes and smiled softly. Your senses are adjusting, she said. In time, you will experience the world differently, more deeply. Elias touched his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat. This is incredible. It is only the beginning, Sareth said quietly. Elias looked up at her, hope glowing in his expression. I'm going to live. Sareth brushed a strand of her dark hair behind her shoulder. Yes, she said, her voice gentle and certain. Your life is no longer slipping away. You will grow stronger each hour. Elias felt tears gather in his eyes. He wiped them away quickly, embarrassed. But Sareth smiled kindly. You do not need to hide your feelings, she said. Life is precious. It is natural to feel deeply when you receive it again. Elias nodded slowly, unable to speak for a moment. He had been preparing himself for the end. He had accepted lonely nights, quiet fading, and fear he tried so hard not to show. But now, everything had changed. He had been given a second chance, one beyond anything he had imagined. Sareth placed her hand lightly on his shoulder. Rest now, she said softly. Your transformation has begun, but it will take time. I will stay with you. Elias lay back slowly, feeling a gentle, comforting warmth flow through him. His eyelids grew heavy, but this time, sleep did not feel frightening. It felt peaceful. Before he drifted off, he whispered, "Thank you for saving me." Sareth watched over him, her expression full of quiet compassion. "Your journey is only beginning," she murmured. And with that, Elias fell into a deep, healing sleep, his new life forming quietly inside him. Elias woke slowly, the soft glow of Sareth's vessel surrounding him like a gentle sunrise. The warmth from the previous night lingered in his body, comforting and calm. For the first time in what felt like years, he didn't feel weak or helpless. His chest rose and fell evenly, and his limbs felt strong enough to move freely. The experience from the night before had changed him. He could feel it, and he could sense it, even though he didn't fully understand how. He sat up carefully, his eyes scanning the smooth walls and soft light of the room. Everything seemed quiet, peaceful, yet full of life. The vessel itself seemed alive in a subtle, gentle way. Elias noticed that he could hear faint vibrations in the air, sounds that had always existed but that he had never been able to perceive before. He could feel the soft movement of energy around him, and it did not frighten him, it fascinated him. Sareth approached slowly, her movements graceful as ever. She carried herself with a quiet authority that was calming. "Good morning," she said, though the words were felt in his mind rather than spoken aloud. "You are adjusting well?" Elias nodded, still trying to understand the depth of the changes in his body. I feel different," he admitted. "I can feel everything, the air, the light, even the energy in this room. It's like I'm more alive than I've ever been." Sareth smiled softly. "Yes, your body has begun to merge with my essence. You are learning to sense life beyond what humans normally perceive. This is only the beginning. In time your abilities will become stronger, but you must be patient. Your body is still adjusting." Elias placed a hand on his chest. He could feel the gentle rhythm of his heart, steady and calm. The fear and weakness he had carried for months felt like a distant memory, replaced with a lightness he had never imagined. He had been given a chance to live again, but it was not just life. He could feel that he had been given something far greater. "Can I move around now?" he asked, eager to test his strength. Sareth nodded. "Yes, but do so carefully. You will find that your body is strong, but it is still learning to work with new abilities. Take your time." Elias stood slowly. The first step was unsteady, but then he felt a stability he had never known. He walked across the smooth floor, each movement confident and precise. It was as though his body had learned to walk before his mind had even realized it. He could sense the air brushing against him, the soft vibrations of the vessel beneath his feet, and even the subtle currents of energy flowing in the room. Every step felt alive. Sareth followed silently, observing him with quiet satisfaction. "Your senses are expanding," she explained. "You will soon be able to perceive things far beyond human limits. Light, sound, and energy will all feel familiar to you." Elias stopped in the middle of the room, overwhelmed by the sudden clarity. Colors seemed brighter, sharper, and more vivid. The gentle glow of the walls shimmered with subtle patterns he had never noticed before. He could hear a quiet hum from the vessel itself, a tone that was comforting and steady. Even his own heartbeat sounded clearer, more musical than before. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Everything feels alive." Sareth nodded. "Yes, life is more than what humans perceive with their senses. You are beginning to see beyond the surface, to feel energy in ways you could never before. This is a gift, but it comes with responsibility. You must learn to control it carefully." Elias took a deep breath. He felt a surge of energy ripple through his body, a light and powerful sensation that filled him from head to toe. He realized he could move faster than before, react more quickly, and even sense small changes in the air around him. He could hear the subtle vibrations of the walls, the gentle movements of air currents, and the faintest rhythm of Sareth's presence beside him. What can I do with this?" he asked, curiosity and excitement building in his voice. Sareth's eyes shone softly. "You can sense life in ways humans cannot. You can heal small injuries, sense emotions, and even perceive energy patterns. But these abilities take time to master. You must practice and learn patience. There will be moments when your senses overwhelm you. That is natural." Elias nodded. "I want to learn. I want to understand all of this." Sareth reached out and touched his shoulder lightly. Her presence was soothing, grounding him as he absorbed the full meaning of her words. "You are ready. But first, you must understand the limits of your new life. You are no longer fully human. Your body will not age as it once did. You will not fall ill in the same way. You will live longer than any human life. But that also means you will see the world change while others remain the same. You will experience things few can imagine." Elias thought about that. He had always dreamed of living fully, of exploring the world endlessly. But immortality was not something he had considered in practical terms. Friends would grow old and pass away. Cities would rise and fall. The world would continue, and he would be watching it change while he remained constant. "I understand," he said slowly. "It's a lot to think about, but I'm ready." Sirius' expression softened, Good. You must also understand another part of your transformation. My essence gives you strength, but it also makes you noticeable to others like me. There are beings in the universe who will sense your presence. Some are curious, some are protective, and some may not understand you. You must be careful when you begin interacting with the wider world. Elias absorbed her words. The thought of being noticed by unknown beings in the universe was both thrilling and frightening. But he knew he had survived so far, guided by her presence, and he felt a growing confidence in himself. Will I be able to live among humans? He asked quietly. Yes, Sareth said, but your life will be different. You will need to move carefully, learn to control your abilities, and understand the balance between your human life and your new gifts. You can still enjoy the beauty of your world, the connections of your heart, and the experiences of life, but you must also respect the changes within you. Elias looked down at his hands, flexing them slowly. They felt strong, precise, and alive. The glow of Sirius's essence seemed to linger in his skin, giving him a warmth that was almost like a heartbeat of its own. He realized that he could feel the life around him, the tiny movements of air, the subtle vibrations of the room, even the presence of Sareth herself without needing words or explanations. I think I can do this, he said softly. I feel capable. I feel alive. Sareth's eyes glimmered. That is the first step. The rest will come with experience and time. You must trust yourself, and you must trust the process. There will be challenges, but you will not face them alone. For the next hours, Sareth guided Elias through gentle exercises. She asked him to focus on his senses, to feel the flow of energy within himself, and to notice the subtle changes in the vessel. At first, the sensations were overwhelming. Colors, sounds, and vibrations all seemed to flood into him at once. But with her guidance, he learned to control his perception, to direct his awareness like a steady beam of light. By the time the artificial night of the vessel began, Elias felt stronger than he had in months. His body moved with confidence, his senses were sharp, and his mind felt alert and clear. The fear that had shadowed him for so long had vanished, replaced with a sense of wonder and determination. Sareth watched him quietly. You have made progress, she said softly. Tomorrow, we will continue. You will learn more about your abilities, your body, and your place in this world. And one day, you will be ready to leave this vessel and explore the world as it truly is, with new eyes and new senses. Elias smiled, feeling a lightness in his chest that he had not known for months. I'm ready, he whispered. Sirius's expression was calm, warm, and encouraging. Good sleep now. Rest is important. Your new life begins fully, only after your body and mind are rested. As Elias lay down once more, he felt a gentle energy flowing through him, soothing his body and mind. He closed his eyes, listening to the hum of the vessel, the soft pulse of energy, and the quiet presence of Sareth nearby. For the first time in a long time, he felt truly alive, not just surviving, but ready to embrace everything the future had to offer. And as he drifted into sleep, he knew that the world outside would never be the same for him. He had been given a gift beyond imagination, a life filled with possibilities, mysteries, and a connection to something far greater than he had ever known. The journey ahead was only beginning, and he was ready to meet it fully awake. Elias woke to a calm, glowing light filling Sirius's vessel. Unlike before, the light seemed softer, more balanced, as if it reflected the inner harmony he now felt within himself. His body had changed even more overnight. He could feel strength coursing through every muscle, a lightness that made movement effortless. Even his mind felt sharper, clearer, and filled with a quiet confidence. He sat up slowly, breathing deeply. The warmth from Sirius's essence still lingered, but now it felt part of him, like a second heartbeat that pulsed quietly beneath his own. He flexed his fingers and felt a gentle energy hum through them. It was a strange, wonderful sensation. He could feel every subtle movement of air, the faint vibrations of the vessel's walls, and the quiet presence of Sareth nearby. You are ready, Sareth said softly, stepping closer. Her eyes shone with a gentle light, full of calm assurance. Your body has fully adjusted to the essence. You have grown stronger, and your senses are fully awake. You are no longer bound by the limits of your human life. Elias stood slowly, marveling at how natural it felt. He moved across the vessel's floor, each step steady, each movement smooth. He realized he could perceive even the smallest changes in the air, the faintest flickers of light, and even distant sounds he had never noticed before. He stopped, closing his eyes for a moment, and could feel the presence of the vessel itself, alive with gentle energy, responding to him. Sareth watched silently, a small smile on her face. Now, you must understand another part of your life, she said. Your transformation is complete, but it also carries responsibility. You are no longer fully human. You will live much longer than others, and your senses will see what few can perceive. This gift brings opportunity, but also challenges. You must learn how to balance your human life with your new abilities. Elias absorbed her words. He had been thinking about this moment since the day he first collapsed in the desert. He had wanted life again, and now he had been given more than he could have imagined. But immortality, enhanced senses, and the ability to perceive energy beyond human understanding were not simple. They were gifts and responsibilities. Will I be able to live among humans? He asked quietly, thinking of the friends, family, and colleagues he had left behind. Yes, Sarith said softly, but you must be careful. Your presence will not go unnoticed. Others with abilities like mine may sense you. Some will be curious. Some may test you, and some may not understand. You must learn to move through the world carefully, to protect yourself, and to respect the balance between your life and the lives of others. Elias nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her words. He had been given a second chance, a life unlike any other, but he also realized that this new existence would require wisdom and patience. He could feel the strength in his body, the clarity in his mind, and the warmth in his chest, but he also knew that he would have to learn how to use these gifts responsibly. Sarith stepped closer, placing her hand lightly on his shoulder. You have been given a gift, few receive. Your life is now intertwined with mine. You will feel a connection to my essence wherever you go. This connection will guide you, protect you, and teach you as you grow into your new life. Elias looked at her, wonder in his eyes. I feel connected already. I can sense you, even when you are not speaking to me. It's like part of you is inside me. Sarith nodded. Yes, that connection will strengthen over time. It will guide you, but it will not control you. You are free to make your own choices, to explore your life as you wish. But remember, every choice carries consequences, especially when you move through the world with abilities beyond human understanding. Elias thought about his life on Earth, the friends he had, the work he loved, and the world he wanted to see. He realized that this gift could allow him to experience life in ways he had never dreamed. He could explore hidden places, sense energy and life in a deeper way, and live centuries of discovery. But he would also have to be careful to understand the balance of this new existence. Sarith gestured to the walls of the vessel, which now shimmered with soft, flowing light. You will not be confined here forever. Soon, you will leave this place and experience the world as it truly is. You will see places beyond imagination, meet beings beyond understanding, and live a life that few can even dream of. But first, you must learn control and patience. Elias nodded. I'm ready. I want to explore, to learn, to see everything I can. Sarith's eyes softened. Good. You are prepared for the first step. But remember, your journey is not only about exploration. It is about understanding who you are now and the responsibilities that come with your new life. You will encounter others like me, and not all will be friendly. But you will also find allies, friends, and teachers who will guide you. You must trust yourself and trust the path. Elias took a deep breath, feeling a sense of clarity he had never experienced before. He could feel the strength in his body, the light in his mind, and the energy flowing through the vessel around him. The fear that had once shadowed him for months was gone. He felt hope, purpose, and excitement. Will you guide me? He asked softly. I will always be connected to you, Sarith said. I will guide you when you need guidance, protect you when you need protection, and teach you what you are ready to learn. But you must also take initiative. Your life is yours to live, and your choices will shape the world around you. Elias nodded slowly. He felt a surge of confidence and determination. He realized that his life had changed completely, and yet he felt ready. He could face whatever came next. Sarith smiled, a quiet and peaceful expression. Very well. It is time for you to experience your first journey outside the vessel. You will see the world through new eyes, with new senses. You will learn how to interact with the world and how to control your abilities. Are you prepared? Elias stood tall, feeling the power in his body and the clarity in his mind. I am ready, he said firmly. Siri's hand glowed softly as she touched his chest. A gentle wave of energy passed through him, connecting him even more deeply to her essence. Elias felt a surge of warmth and light that filled every part of him. He could feel the world outside the vessel, the desert he had left behind, and the vast sky above it. The connection was strong, comforting, and grounding. Good, Sarith said. Step forward when you are ready. Elias moved carefully toward the opening of the vessel. As he stepped outside, the desert stretched before him, familiar yet different. The night sky was brilliant, filled with stars that seemed closer and brighter than ever before. The air was crisp and alive, and every sound, every movement, every subtle vibration of life reached him in perfect clarity. He could feel the energy of the sand beneath his feet, the slight hum of the air, and the distant pulse of the mountains on the horizon. He took a deep breath, letting the night fill him completely. He felt exhilarated, alive in a way he had never experienced. His body was strong, his senses were alert, and his mind was clear. He realized that he was no longer just surviving, he was thriving. Sarith appeared beside him, her form glowing softly in the moonlight. You are ready for your journey, she said. Remember, every step you take shapes your life. You have been given a gift beyond imagination, but you must also respect the balance of the world around you. Elias looked out at the vast desert, the endless sky, and the infinite possibilities before him. He smiled, feeling a deep sense of purpose and freedom. I understand, he said. I will live fully. I will explore, learn, and grow. I will respect the world and the gift I've been given. Sarith nodded, her eyes shining with quiet pride. Then go, she said softly. Your journey begins now. Live well, learn deeply, and never forget the connection we share. You are no longer bound by the limits of human life. You are free to experience the universe fully, and your story has only just begun. Elias took a final deep breath, feeling the energy of the world flow through him. He looked back at Sereth, who gave him a reassuring smile, and then turned to face the vast desert and sky. With each step he took, he felt the power, clarity, and freedom of his new life. He was ready to explore, to grow, and to experience the world as never before. And so, Elias Ward, once a man facing the end of his life, stepped into a new beginning, a life full of possibilities, mysteries, and wonders beyond imagination. A life where every moment held meaning, and every step carried the promise of discovery, connection, and the extraordinary. The world was waiting for him, and he was ready.